welcome to this thing, which technically exists as part of the canon of Bells on Netflix. This is your co-host, Larry. I am here alone. It is currently 3 a.m. I am fully nude, as I am not, having to appear on camera for Isaac. So this is the week of the 23rd of December. This is currently the 30th. This week, for those of you who know, at least in America, December 25th is Christmas, which is the biggest holiday of the year. My birthday is December 24th, which is also this week, and Isaac's birthday is December 28th, which is also this week. So, suffice to say, we partied a little hard. I have been shooting heroin directly into my eyeballs since November, so, we didn't get a chance to get time between visiting with our friends and families to get together to record an episode this week. However, I am nothing if not an entertainer, and an entertainer always delivers. So, I was going to read you some erotic literature I wrote when I was in 7th grade, but I instead decided to do something productive, and I wanted to give some reference material for Isaac's next episode. That is not to say, what's he doing next? God, it is 3 a.m. I'm very tired. His next movie is a movie, I love it. Last Dragon. His next movie is The Last Dragon. This will not be for that. This will be for his next movie. So, I wanted to give this to him. So I'm now talking to you, Isaac. This is for you to have and to hold forever and ever. Amen. Because you might need to refer back to this for your next episode after Last Dragon. So it'll be, I don't know the numbers because I don't have iTunes pulled up, and also I don't have anything in my pockets to reference because I'm naked. So so Isaac, for those, now I'm talking now to the listeners, Isaac, so go fuck yourself. So Isaac, for those of you who don't know, does not know anything at all about Pokemon, and I thought it'd be really funny to listen to him struggle to muddle his way through something to do with Pokemon. Now, truth be told, I don't know hardly anything about newer Pokemon. I played the original games when I was a kid. I watched a couple episodes of the show, and the original show, and I want to say like 20, in which you're going to be like 20 is more than a couple, but no, I think that show has like a grand total of like 900 episodes. So yeah, 20 is a couple. And like I had the trading cards when I was a kid, but I didn't follow it after my parents got divorced. It was about when like the second generation of Pokemon came out, and I think they're on generation 6 or 7 now. And after my parents got divorced, there was no money for Pokemon games, so no more Pokemons for me. And I kind of tried to pick it up as an adult, and now I really only have nostalgia for the first, generation of Pokemon. So I don't know what the fuck I'm looking. I looked at all the Pokemon now, and it scares me. I don't know. There's like chandeliers and ice cream cones, and it's all kinds of bullshit. But I want to describe to Isaac what Pokemon is, so that way his whole episode is not just him screaming at me that I don't know what's going on. So Pokemon, it's Japanese portmanteau for pocket monsters. Oh, by the way, I've done no research. I pulled up an image of the first 150 Pokemon, and I'm going to describe them individually to Isaac so that he has some frame of reference going into the movie I'm going to give him, which there are several, so I'm not going to give it away. And also, I've, like I said, no research, entirely from memory. So, here we go. Pokemon pocket monsters. It's monsters you catch and you put them in your pocket with Pokeballs, right? Pokeball is a little mechanical ball. You throw it at a Pokemon. You catch the Pokemon and then you eat it or use it to fight. Now, it's basically just you use it to fight each other is how it's implied in the world. But the world of Pokemon, which is based on Earth. There's they're in Japan. Ash Ketchum, main character by the way, Ash Ketchum, 10 years old, in Japan, and there's no animals, so it's just Pokemon. All right, there's no dogs, there's no cats, there's no birds, there's no bugs. It's all Pokemon. Everything that's not a human is a Pokemon. So that's a start, right? and the entire world revolves around Pokemon. There's no politics. There's no anything else. It's all, everything is Pokemon. So imagine, like, it's kind of like our world, but imagine everything was based around, like, bees and dogs and jellyfish. That's basically what Pokemon is. But, yeah, and, like, as the show keeps going on and they keep making games, the games are the big hit. As they keep making more games, they keep adding more Pokemon. So it's like, where the fuck are all these other Pokemon, man? I don't get it. And Pokemon basically, they basically are just animals that do magic. They've got a lot of magic. There's magic powers. It's like there's dragons and turtles, and there's like this horse that's on fire, and there's a bunch of magnets jammed together, and there's like I know later on there's like a giant crab who's made of steel, and you got like giant rock monsters. So, but it's not just, so you got your regular animal Pokemons, which I use Pokemons interchangeably because it's funny to me. Even though Pokemon it's not Pokemons, it's Pokemon. One way, it's like deer. You don't say deer and deers, it's just deer. It's Pokemon and Pokemon, it's Pokemon. So, you got like your animal Pokemon, you got your plant Pokemon, you've got like monsters, items, there's like a sword, there's a ring of keys, there's an ice cream cone, there's like Bruce Lee's a Pokemon, basically. You got like this made up shit. This is gonna be, Isaac is going to be so confused. This is going to be awesome. So, Pokemon, right? 90s, I want to say 96, the first game came out. Red and blue. I guess in Japan it was red and green. Nobody cares. So, huge hit. World by storm. Still exists today. It's big money restless Pokemons. You got all your Pokemons. So, yeah. You got these little Pokeballs that are like little houses for Pokemon. And again, audience, I'm sure you know I sound like a moron, but understand, Isaac really has no idea anything about Pokemon. He knows what Pikachu is, and he's seen a Jigglypuff. He doesn't know what it is, but he's seen it. And he's probably could identify, like, maybe a Charizard. If he like, really thinks about, like, being in high school or middle school again, he might recognize, like, a Blastoise, for example. But he doesn't know shit. He's a fucking dumb, stupid, smelly idiot, and I love him. I do. But he doesn't know Pokemon, so this is an education for him, right? Okay, Isaac, so let's say when you turn 10 in Pokemon, right? Oh god, this is so rambly. It's awesome. When you turn 10 years old in the world of Pokemon, what you do is your mom, your single parent, usually your mother, because you don't have another parent, it's never explained, right? You get kicked out into the world, age 10, and you're given or you find or you catch a Pokemon, right? So Pokemon is any animal. Basically any animal or thing or nonsense, it's you get it. It's yours. It's your friend. It's your new best friend. And the entire goal of Pokemon is you make your Pokemon fight another Pokemon to either catch that Pokemon or, like, let's say you and I are both 10, we both have Pokemon, then we fight each other's Pokemon to make them not die. Like, they don't eat each other. Well, they do, but not in player battles. Not if you and I were both fighting each other. They would just make them faint. Pokemon generally don't die from battling. It's taboo. It never really comes up. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and maybe we can talk about it when I actually make you review this, but just for now, bear with me. I know you're actively talking to your computer as the words are coming out of it, and you're saying, what? But no, I'm just bear with me, right? So, you're 10 years old, you get your Pokemon. Usually there's some professor in the town you live in that he's like, hey, you're a young up-and-coming 10-year-old, and I've had my eye on you, and I'm also under investigation by the police, which is, I think it's just one woman, or a series of women that all look alike, named Officer Jenny. I don't know. It's never really made much sense to me, and no, I'm not being sarcastic. Also, yeah, if you're listening to this and you know more about the Pokemon universe than I do, I love you, but I don't care. This is what I know to be true, and that's all I'm going to be able to give. The answers I'm going to be able to give Isaac, and it's going to be way funnier that way anyway. So if you want to correct me, go ahead, but I promise you I'm going to get everything wrong, and it's going to be great. So anyway, this child molester allegedly gives you a Pokemon. You take this Pokemon, and you're basically your job in any Pokemon game or in the show, or not really the trading cards, but in the game of the show, your job is to you get a Pokedex, which is like a little encyclopedia. For some reason, you have to fill in. It's never been clear to me why why you are the only 10-year-old capable of doing this, or Ash Ketchum is too. I think that's his job as well. Let's talk about the games. Fuck the show. Let's talk about the games right now, okay? Because that's the baseline. That's where it all started. So you got your Pokemon, you got your Pokeballs, which are little Pokemon houses you throw at them, and they get in them and they live in there, and then they're best friends. Then you got your child molester. I think my neighbors upstairs are actively planning a bomb on their floor to kill me. You've got your child molester, allegedly professor, is what's he do? Oh God, I don't remember. What does he do? Oh, he gives you a Pokedex, which is like an encyclopedia that's blank. It's blank. He gives you a blank encyclopedia. An encyclopedia that's blank. There's nothing in it. Even though he's a scientist and he's like has Pokemon, he's done research on Pokemon. He gives you a blank encyclopedia, and the only thing in it is the Pokemon that he gives you, or the one that you catch yourself, the initial one. You always start with one. You never more than one. That's sacrilege. How dare you? So you go and you do stuff, and the goal is to catch them all, right? Because that's where the marketing is. You want to catch all the Pokemon, which means basically the equivalent of you catch one of every animal. Basically, you're Noah. That's honestly the idea of Pokemon, the games, is that you want to be Noah, and also you want to beat other people with their Pokemon, too. And sounds ridiculous, but that's totally it. Like, there's these gyms, which are not like the gyms that you and I desperately avoid so we can keep our fat physiques and then thus elicit pity because we don't know how to handle being alive. I'm very tired. There's these gyms that have these other stronger Pokemon trainers in it, and what you do is you go take your Pokemon there. Not just your one. You catch others with other Pokeballs, so you have a whole team of Pokemons. It's usually 6. I think there can be more in later games. I don't know. You take your Pokemon and you beat those guys up, and they give you badges. And those badges say that, hey, I'm the best Pokemon trainer there ever was. Or I beat this guy in this town. Basically, I rolled in, kicked his ass, took his badge, and now I'm here to kick your ass and take your badge. That's it, right? Once you have all the badges from the area of Japan that you live in this particular case, you go to the Pokemon League, which is like the 4 toughest trainers in that region, and then you kick their ass, and then you're the Pokemon League champion. Yeah, there's also a champion at the fight, but sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. But then you're like the top guy, right? And that's it. That's the game. And it sounds simplistic. Sometimes you like thwart criminal organizations along the way. In the first games, and most famously in the show, it's Team Rocket, which is basically the Mafia if they used Pokemon. Like, imagine the Mafia in our world, but instead of Tommy guns, they used, like, bats and snakes, and they were feared for that. Yeah, that's... I wish I was kidding. You thwart an entire criminal organization in the first one. Not once, but, like, 4 times. You beat the boss. You basically beat the Godfather, like, 3 times in the first set of games. And yeah, that's Team Rocket. And there's like more of them. There's like a bunch of evil Pokemon organizations. I don't know. There's probably some allegory to PETA somewhere in there. Who the fuck knows? Anyway, so you do that. Oh, but there's also computers where you store your Pokemon, because Pokemon can be stored digitally even though they're animals. So imagine like you have a dog, and you're like, you have a dog, Isaac, and you're like, this dog is cool. I like this dog. It's a good dog. But I also have this bird, this lizard, this magnet, this tadpole, a rock monster, and a ghost, and I can't have 7. So I'm just going to put my dog, I'm going to put it in the computer, and I'm going to send it to the cloud, and it's going to live in the cloud. And I can access it from any computer. And then that's where my living, breathing, sentient dog is. Also, Pokemon they can't talk, but they can say their own name. Except some of them can talk. But we'll get to that in the show. Mostly Pokemon are just animals that are like smarter than regular animals, but they're still like basically animals, but they can also understand English, all of them. I don't think there's any that are like completely non-responsive to people in some way or another. Maybe some of the more monstery ones, I don't know, but generally they're like responsive to people. Generally they're also like not really a threat. They don't really kill people. No one ever really dies. Sometimes they die of like natural causes, but it's generally like pretty tame. And this is going on for, 20 plus years. I guess, yeah, that's like 22, 23, something like that. So yeah, it's very tame. It's very kid friendly, the Pokemon don't die, they faint. Generally, the Pokemon are not really, they don't really threaten humans that much. Usually, the movies tend to be more dramatic, but more often than not, it's like minor stuff, and it's like the people are the problem. But anyway, yeah, so that's the games. It's pretty much the idea of the games is you want to be Noah, you want to get all the animals in the iCloud, and then you want to beat everybody else up. That's a really, God, it sounds simplistic when you put it that way, but that's what it is. So the show is built off of that same idea. The show follows a 10-year-old Ash Ketchum, who is very cleverly named. He sets off on an adventure with his first Pokemon, who is Pikachu, which you know what a Pikachu is. I think tribes in Africa not exposed to other human interactions know what Pikachu is. It's very common, famous little yellow mouse thing that he still has, even though he's been adventuring for all his years. Blah blah blah, whatever. But yeah, basically, at least for the first series, which follows the first generation of games. Which, by the way, all the Pokemon games have basically the same premise. They just start you like at different times or different places, and you do the same thing. Basically, you travel around the region, and you collect all the Pokemon. You don't need collecting them all is not the end goal. Beating everybody else up is the end goal. Beating literally every other trainer in that region is the end goal. Collecting them all is just sort of like the shoot for the moon, you'll land on the stars sort of thing. Anywho, yeah, Ash Ketchum, his goal is he wants to do both. He wants to catch them all, and he also wants to be the very best like no one ever was, as per the theme song. And then, they made a new series still following Ash Ketchum with he's kind of Ash Ketchum. Okay. Ash Ketchum is basically Doctor Who, right? Doctor Who is, for those of you who don't know, is like this from a race called the Time Lords, and he's like this interdimensional being that travels between time and space to have all kinds of wacky adventures. Some weeks with like aliens, some weeks with William Shakespeare. It's wacky. And the idea of a Doctor Who is that he is to explain the fact that the show has existed for like 70 years or whatever, and has different actors. Like whenever the Doctor dies, he like respawns in a new body basically, and gets new traveling companions. There's usually like two. He's got like a dude and a woman like hanging out with him in his magical call box. So Pokemon is kind of like that, except it's always the same Ash Ketchum, and there's no police call box. It's just like Pikachu. Pikachu's the TARDIS, basically. Well, I guess the Pokeballs are the TARDIS, but that's chaos theory. So Ash Ketchum gets like two people with him, usually a woman, at least one woman, so that there's some kind of weird 10-year-old, not sexual tension, but like romantic tension. Because I mean, it's it's super tame. There's not even any like, even when like Misty's in a bathing suit. Misty was his first traveling companion, and everyone's favorite because she was first. And I think she wore the skimpiest clothing and was also the closest to being not 10. But even when they're like in bathing suits and stuff, there's no implication of any kind of sexual stuff. It's sometimes romance, I think. I don't really know. Again, I've not followed it super well. Anywho, yeah. So that's the entirety of Pokemon. It's like it basically follows that same formula of the video games, and then with just like, instead of you, it's Ash Ketchum, who's this like braggadocious dumbass who never learns his lesson, who's like kind of a good Pokemon trainer when he's not in the middle of learning a lesson, which that's like every episode is kind of, even though it's not like a monster of the week. He's like on a journey, but there's like, it's sort of monster of the weeky, where like he sometimes like stops to, he'll like have an adventure where he gets a Pokemon or like learns a lesson, or, and sometimes he goes and fights a gym. They're always like on the way to the next gym, and sometimes they just stop. It's kind of like Supernatural, because like Supernatural, like, oh, we got to find the yellow-eyed demon, and we also got to stop and fight this Wendigo on the way, or, oh, Satan's literally on Earth, but like, we're going to take a minute and find out why this ghost is drinking from the well. I don't know if that's a Supernatural episode, but I think I remember that. I think that was like season 4. Anyway, so yeah, that's basically, other than that, yeah, it's just Ash wandering around with his like newest female companion, and usually Brock, who's this weird Japanese stereotype who doesn't open his eyes. I don't quite understand it, but whatever. And it's just like a rotating cast as time goes on, because now it's like 20 years since from the beginning, but he's also still 10, and I don't really care. So yeah, that's kind of all you need to know. And they made a shitload of movies. I believe the first one was actually, and the first one I saw in theaters, was Pokemon the first movie, which, they made about, $1 billion more. So that's a thing. But yeah, you are going to be watching one of those movies. And so how long am I recording? 22 minutes. Okay, great. So you've got a pretty good baseline of how Pokemon work, right? So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to describe to you some, if not all, of the original 151 Pokemon. Now, these are my Pokemon. This is the Pokemon I grew up with. These are your grandpa's Pokemon. These ain't your new fangled Generation 7 Pokemons, Sun and Moon, Alpha, Omega, Deoxys. That's probably old. Genesect Pokemons. These are your bog standard original. We have this. This is the original 150 Pokemon. All right, so they're in numbered order. You got Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur. Oh, I didn't explain evolution to you, Isaac. Okay, so evolution is when you got this, like, you got a lot of Pokemon evolve. Like, basically, you're this small little normal thing, and you evolve into a bigger thing. It's kind of like in D&D, how you got a wolf, and you got a dire wolf. You got a bear and a dire bear. So basically the difference there is like a dire wolf is like a wolf with spikes. A dire bear is like a bear with spikes. So you got your regular Pokemon, and the evolved form is like basically the same thing but with spikes. Not quite, but you'll catch on. So you got your like your first three, for example. You got Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur. Now Bulbasaur, he's ostensibly a dinosaur, I think. I was never quite sure until like a year ago when I realized Bulbasaur is dinosaur. So he's like this little quadruped green thing with a bulb on its back, like a flower bulb that's not sprouted yet. And so what happens is you get him to a certain level in the games, or just, arbitrarily in the show, and he evolves. It's nothing like Darwinian evolution. Don't question it. Just accept it's a thing. He evolves into Ivysaur, which is like a slightly angrier green dinosaur, and his bulb is open up into a little flower, and he's tougher than a Bulbasaur, and that's Ivysaur. And then Ivysaur evolves into Venusaur. Now Venusaur is a real big dinosaur with like a tree on his back, and he's like he's the angriest of them all, right? Bulbasaur's like this happy little green shit, and Venusaur, who's he's the totally evolved form. He's like an angry dinosaur with a tree. And that's it. The Venusaur is just Venusaur. There's like mega evolutions and stuff, but I'm not doing that. We're just doing this. So, if you got complaints, bowsernetflix@gmail.com. All right. So then after that, you got Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard, right? Also an evolutionary line. Charmander's this little fucking red salamander-looking thing that stands on 2 feet, and he's got a tail that's on fire. And his whole bit is that and also, like I said, they do magic. So that dinosaur, his magic, he's got like he can do like grass powers. There's like also elements and stuff, but you don't care about that. You play enough. You shut up. So Charmander's this little bipedal salamander who's orange, and he's got a little bit of flame on his tail. And if that flame ever goes out, Charmander dead. He's done. He dies. And he evolves into Charmeleon, which is just a redder, angrier, like, bipedal chameleon, basically. Charmeleon. Yeah, I mean, it's not hard. Like Salamander, Chameleon, and then you got Charizard, which is a dragon. He's an orange dragon. You've probably seen it. It's one of the more famous Pokemon. These first 9 are pretty famous. So anyway, following that, you got Squirtle, Wartortle, and Blastoise. Squirtle is a tiny little turtle who he's also happy. You'll see a lot of this goes with they start happy and they get progressively angrier. He's a little blue turtle, and he evolves into Wartortle, who is an angrier turtle, also bipedal. These 3 are all bipedal. He's like an angrier turtle who's got like hair horns, kind of. It's weird. And then that evolves into Blastoise, which is just like a big tortoise that's bipedal that has cannons coming out of the back of his shell. Yeah, it's a thing. So then you got Caterpie, Metapod, and Butterfree. So Caterpie is like he's a caterpillar. He's a little green caterpillar. It's a bug. It's a tiny bug. Remember, there's no real animals in Pokemon. There's just Pokemon. So Caterpie evolves when he gets strong enough into Metapod, which is just like a cocooned bug, right? And then Metapod, when it gets strong enough, evolves into Butterfree, which is a butterfly. And that's really all I have to say about that. And by the way, Butterfree are enormous. They're like close to human size, I think. They maybe like a child size. They're like 2 or 3 feet big. They're huge. Oh, God, this is going to take forever. So then you got your next 3, and these all are evolutionary line. It's Weedle, Kakuna, and Beedrill. Same thing as the last 3. Weedle is it's a little poisonous caterpillar. It's not a beetle, even though it rhymes with beetle. And then that evolves a Kakuna, which is just a cocooned Weedle. And then you got Beedrill, which is just a bee. But he's got stingers on his hands, too. Beedrill's the shit. Don't be talking shit about Beedrill. I love me some Beedrill. So then you got Pidgey, Pidgeotto, and Pidgeot, which is just progressively larger birds that are brown. And yeah, they're birds. They're pretty common, not much to say about them. And you got, Pidgey evolves into Pidgeotto, evolves into Pidgeot. I hope you're following, Isaac. There will be a test. And you got, next you got Rattata, which is just a little purple rat. And he evolves into Raticate, which is just a big brown rat that's angrier than Rattata. And you got Spearow and Fearow, which is just another set of birds. One's a little bird and one's a bigger bird. You got Ekans and Arbok, which they're definitely not snake and cobra spelled backwards. So Ekans is just a snake and Arbok's just a cobra. Ekans evolves into Arbok. It doesn't make much sense. And you got Pikachu, and you know what a Pikachu is, and that evolves into Raichu, which is just a fatter Pikachu with like a different tail, and he's also orange instead of yellow. And you got Sandshrew and Sandslash, and Sandshrew is like basically a shrew, a bipedal shrew, believe it or not, based on the name. And Sandslash is just Sandshrew with spikes, and that is, I'm not even kidding, that's just all it is. He's also got claws, but who cares? You got you got Nidoran female. We'll get to that in a minute. And Nidoran female evolves into Nidorina, which evolves into Nidoqueen. Nidoran female is like a rabbit, kind of. And then a Nidorina is like, I don't know, it's kind of like a dinosaur. And then Nidoqueen is, these evolve in that order. Nidoran, Nidorina, Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen's like a bipedal kind of monster. It's kind of like Godzilla, like a lady Godzilla kind of. I mean, they're not that big. They're like maybe person size, maybe a little bigger. I don't have a statistical stuff up, but it's like a big, like armor plated monster-y sort of thing. It's got tit armor plates too. You'd appreciate it. And you got male Nidoran, Nidorino, and Nidoking. Now, the Nidoqueen line is all blue. The Nidoking line is all purple. Again, the male Nidoran is like a little armored bunny rabbit who turns into like a larger armored, like, I don't know what a Nidorino is. It's like a rhino. Oh, okay, wait, that actually makes a lot of sense. It's like a rhinoceros, but it's purple. And you got Nidoking, which is like a big bipedal Godzilla-looking thing. And Nidoking is my favorite Pokemon ever. It's a big purple king with a horn. I like it. I won't I won't hear any shit about it. I got one on my desk at work. It's the tits. Oh, this isn't gonna work. Then you got Clefairy and Clefable. They're like little pink balls with ears, and Clefable's like a bigger one, and they're from the moon. That's actually totally a thing. They're from the moon. You got Vulpix and Ninetails, which are just little fiery foxes, and then a fiery fox with 9 tails, hence the name. You got Jigglypuff and Wigglytuff, which is Jigglypuff is a little pink ball that sings, and Wigglytuff is just like a kind of a fat rabbit. Yeah, I don't know. It does stuff. No animals. These are the only animals, Isaac. There's no dogs. There's no cows. There's no meat. I don't know what they eat. They must eat Pokemon. It's a question that's haunted me for years. So then you got Zubat and Golbat. Zubat is just a bat. There's really nothing special about it. And Golbat is just a mouth. It's just a mouth with wings and like little feet. I don't know. It haunts my nightmares. You got Oddish, Gloom, and Vileplume. Now they're basically just like blue radishes with that get progressively more grass shit on their heads. Like Oddish just has like a little tuft of grass. Gloom has like a kind of like a bulb, and Vileplume has like the that Japanese flower, that red flower that smells that's in a bunch of video games. I don't know what it's called. Rafflesia, I think it's called. Wow, that is some 3:40 a.m. clutch knowledge coming in. You got Paris and Parasect, which they're like little hermit crabs that have mushrooms going out of them. Like just the mushroom gets bigger. You have Venonat and Venomoth, which is just like a little wingless fly that turns into a moth. Now, here's where shit gets weird. You got 2 of my other favorite Pokemon. You got Diglett and Dugtrio. Diglett is like basically like imagine you're on the ground. Imagine you dig yourself a hole, right? That's perfectly squatting height. Like imagine you sitting on a toilet, and then you dig a hole that's just the size for you to imagine, like pantomime sitting on the toilet on the like with only your asshole sticking out. Basically, is what I'm trying to go for here. And you start to squeeze out a log of shit, and then that like now you cut out just that like bit of squeezed log and your asshole, and that's Diglett. And you put like 2 eyes and a nose on it, right? That's a Diglett. Dugtrio is 3 of those crammed together, and they're pissed. So yeah, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You have Meowth in Persian. Meowth is he's a little white cat with like a little Japanese. He's like the Japanese like lucky cat that's in every Chinese restaurant you've ever been to. I guess it might be Chinese. I don't really know. I'm not very educated on culture. I'm sorry. And that Meowth's kind of important. Meowth is like, okay, so in the show, which is also going to be in the movie you're going to watch, right? You got Ash Ketchum rolling around with his hose and his bros, and he's got Pikachu, and Pikachu's like Pika Pika. He's like, yeah, Pikachu, let's fuck bitches and get money. And he's got his antagonists are Team Rocket, who is this pair of bumbling morons who follow him around for 20 years trying to get Pikachu because they think Pikachu's special, even though he's just a fucking Pikachu. And they're comedy villains. And they're one of their Pokemon is Meowth, who is one of the only Pokemon who can talk. And Meowth is like basically he's like a cognizant little cat that talks. So, you'll be seeing him in the movie you watch. So, keep an eye out for that. He's special. I'm not quite sure why he can talk. There's probably like 4 episodes about it, but I wouldn't know that. And Persian is just like a Meowth, but like a leopard, except it's all white. I don't care. Psyduck, he's just a little duck. He's just a duck who has telekinetic powers. And Golduck is just a Psyduck that's blue and not as fat, and his telekinetic powers are stronger. Mankey and Primeape, it's just like a monkey. Instead of like having monkey features, it's just a round ball of fur with like arms and legs and a tail. And Primeape is just the same thing, except it's pissed and has like a little vein coming out of his forehead. And I know I'm not kidding. Growlithe and Arcanine, they're just like, they're like you cross a tiger with a dog. And I'm really not kidding. And then it's just like a small and big versions of those, basically. And they also spit fire. Then you got Poliwag, Poliwhirl, and Poliwrath. Poliwag is a tadpole. Poliwhirl is like a frog, kind of. But imagine a frog that's bipedal. It wears like Mickey Mouse gloves and instead of like having a normal frog body and a mouth, it just has eyes and then like a big spiral, like the inside of an actual tadpole's guts. That's a Poliwrath. And that's a Poliwhirl. And Poliwrath is just a Poliwhirl that's angry. There's actually hardly any aesthetic difference. Its eyes get narrower and angrier. That is the only physical difference of it. So I hope you're following along because there is a lot to go. So you have Abra, Kadabra, and Alakazam. Abra is a little yellow thing. It's like a little cat person sort of looking thing that has telekinesis powers. A Kadabra is just a bigger one that has more of a defined face and a spoon because it can bend spoons with its mind powers. And Alakazam is just a bigger Kadabra with 2 spoons and a gigantic mustache. Moving on, we have Machop, Machoke, and Machamp. Machop is like a little blue... It's basically like a kid with like some weird head ridges that punches stuff. Machoke is just a bigger version of that with a wrestling belt, basically. Machoke is kind of like your bog standard wrestler, WWE wrestler, except it's blue, and it has head ridges and is a Pokemon. And then Machamp is just that, but with 2 extra arms, so it has 4 arms. I never quite understood. You got Bellsprout, Weepinbell, and Victory Bell. Bellsprout is like a little Venus flytrap. Weepinbell is a bigger Venus flytrap with like... Bellsprout's got like arms and legs, kind of. Weepinbell's just kind of like a head that's got like a big gaping Venus flytrap mouth. And Victory Bell is just a Weepinbell like turned upside down and angry. Because that's just a going trend is the Pokemon get angrier as they get more evolved. You've got Tentacool and Tentacruel, which is just like a jellyfish and then a gigantic terrifying squid with tentacles. It's pretty self-explanatory. Geodude, Graveler, and Golem, which is Geodude is a rock with arms that floats. Graveler is a bigger rock with 4 arms that does not float. And Golem is a boulder with like turtle arms and legs and a turtle head. That one's always kind of... I don't quite know how they get from point A to point B there, but because he kind of because like the rock face on Geodude and Graveler is like just a face, and Golem has got like a head like sticking out of its boulder body. It's never made sense to me. I don't like it. You got Ponyta and Rapidash, which is just a horse with a fire mane and fire tail, and then a unicorn with a fire mane and fire tail. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Slowpoke and Slowbro. Slowpoke is a pink sloth, and Slowbro is the same pink sloth with a different Pokemon called a Cloyster, we'll get to it, attached to its tail. And they have psychic powers. And I left a long pause of silence there for effect, which will probably get cut out by your silence cutting out program, so, who cares. Next, we're on to Magnemite and Magneton. So this is interesting. So Magnemite is like a little metal ball with a screw coming out of the top of its head, a big eyeball in the middle of it, 2 screws coming out from like underneath the eyeball, and then 2 magnets on either side of it that floats and has electricity powers. And then a Magneton is just 3 of those stuck together. So, I don't think this is hard. I think if you really I think I'm nailing these descriptions really well. So I just, I hope you're getting this, because this is going to be vitally important to your movie. Then you have Farfetch'd. Now Farfetch'd doesn't evolve into anything. Farfetch'd is a duck with a leek that uses his leek like a sword. It's just a duck with like an angry expression. So again, it seems pretty easy to understand. Duduo and Dodrio, or Duduo and Dodrio, I guess, is basically a Roadrunner with 2 heads. And Dodrio is a Roadrunner with 3 heads and like a bigger tail. Seal and Dugong, which are just a seal and a bigger seal with a horn. This one doesn't get angrier though, not really. They just kind of have stupid seal expressions. You have Grimer and Muck. Grimer is a little monster made of sludge that's just like basically a puddle of slime with a face, and Muck is a bigger puddle of slime with a face. Easy peasy. You have Shelder and Cloyster. Shelder is a clam. Yeah, he's a clam. He's a clam with a big tongue coming out of it. like it's like the shell of a clam. You open up a little bit, and there's just like eyes and a tongue sticking out, and that's the whole Pokemon. And then evolves into a Cloyster, which is the same thing. You got like a little angry face inside of like a big spiky clam shell that's now sideways. Cloyster, very vaginal. It's very, very vaginal. It's strange. Like you almost have to censor it. So it's like a big spiky clam vagina. We have Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. Ghastly, these three are ghosts. Ghastly is it's a little ball of ghostly energy, of gas. Ghastly, and then Haunter is like your garden variety ghost. Imagine like a spiky purple Boo from Mario with like detached hands, and Gengar is just like a little fat purple thing that's like a little fat bipedal monster. It doesn't really, it's nothing special. Haunter's kind of the cooler one, but whatever. Onyx, which is just a big gigantic rock snake, just huge. That's just a snake made of like segmented rocks. Don't have much to say about him. You've got Drowsy and Hypno, which is like Drowsy's like a. I think it's like there's like an animal in Japan this thing's based on. It's like I want to say capybara, but I probably don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. It's like this bipedal, looks like he's wearing pants even though he's not. Yellow monster with like a weird kind of like snout hanging over his mouth that has psychic powers, and it evolves into Hypno, which is just an entirely yellow, no pants wearing thing with a beard. That's just kind of like he looks kind of like a fox. Hypno is kind of like a bipedal fox that's yellow with a beard, and he's got like a coin he uses to hypnotize people with psychic powers. Krabby and Kingler, which is just a crab and a bigger crab with its angry and has a one gigantic claw it uses to club people with. Voltorb and Electrode, oh god, okay. So you've seen a Pokeball, I'm sure. It's like a little mechanical ball you throw. The top is red, the bottom is white. A Voltorb just looks like that because video game designers are notoriously very lazy, and they decided, we don't have to do any design choices. We already have this Pokeball. Here, it's a Pokemon that looks like a Pokeball. So it's like a ball, a perfectly spherical ball. The top is red, the bottom is white, and it has angry eyes on it. And then that evolves into Electrode, which is just that Pokemon turned upside down. And it's white on top and red on the bottom with smaller, beadier eyes, and this one has a mouth. Voltorb, I don't know how Voltorb eats. I don't know how it fucks. I don't know how any of these things fuck, Isaac. I want to know so much how all of these fucking things fuck. Voltorb has no feet. It's just a ball. How do you make more Voltorbs? What evolution? You can't bring Darwin into Pokemon, but what purpose does a fucking Voltorb serve on planet Earth? Like, what? There is a Pokemon God, by the way. You can catch it in later games. It doesn't make much sense. Like, imagine like you're 10 years old and you start your life's journey by like going outside and catching a squirrel in a Pokeball. And then that's like your best friend squirrel, and you have it fight like the neighbor's Rottweiler, and you win. And then like eventually you're fighting God. Anyway, Voltorb, yeah. So I don't know what a Voltorb is or what it does, but it's there. Execute and Executor. Execute is a pile of eggs that are pink and angry. And Executor is a palm tree with faces on the coconuts and legs. I don't know how these two things are combined. I don't know why an Execute evolves into an Executor, but I mean, here we are. Cubone and Marowak. Cubone is like a little brown fucking fat little thing that's like, it's like a little bipedal monster. He carries a bone as a club, and he wears a skull of another Cubone. He wears the skull of his mother on his head, which a Marowak is the evolved version, which is just a bigger Cubone that throws its club like a boomerang, a bone like a boomerang that also wears a skull on its head. And the skull on the Cubone's head is supposed to be of its mother, which is supposed to be a Marowak, but again, it raises a lot of questions on how these things fuck, and I'm just gonna leave it go. Hitmonlee. It's just like a brown splotchy, like a brown basically like a turd, kind of like my example for Diglett earlier, which is just like the top of a turd, but you give it like big, long arms and legs, and it kicks things like Bruce Lee, Hitmonlee. And then and that doesn't evolve. And you also have Hitmonchan, which is basically like just a boxer, just basically like a boxer with like a weird kind of spiky head, and it punches things like a boxer would, like Jackie Chan? Question mark? Never quite understood. They wanted to get that connection in there, but I mean, Hitmonlee, sure. Hitmonchan, the boxer, it doesn't quite work, but whatever. You got Lickitung, which is a pink, fat monster-looking thing with a gigantic tongue. Very sexual. Keep it away from the cloisters. What the fuck is Japan? Coughing and wheezing. Coughing is a ball of gas. It's a purple ball with a skull and crossbones on it that has like little like holes on it that it like has gas coming out of, and it has a big happy smile because he's happy he's killing people. It's great. And a wheezing, which the coughing evolves into wheezing. Wheezing is just a coughing with a smaller coughing that's butted off of it, and they both look very unhappy about the situation. They're just big balls of poison. You've got what's that? A Rhydon and a Rhyhorn. Rhydon is just a rhinoceros that's completely armored. And then a Rhyhorn is another kind of Godzilla thing. Why is that so much like Nidoking and Nidoqueen? I don't understand. Anyway, whatever. You got Chansey, which is just a little pink ball, kind of like some of the other ones, with an egg pouch, like a kangaroo. But we actually have a kangaroo, and we'll get to it in a minute. So it's just like a little fat pink ball with an egg in it. That I guess the egg is a Chansey egg. I've never stopped to think about that. Again, how do these things fuck? You got Tangela, which is a ball of green vines with 2 eyes in it. Or it might be blue vines and 2 red feet. I don't know what a Tangela is, but that's what it looks like. You got Kangaskhan, which is like, imagine a kangaroo with the pouch, except instead of being like kind of like it's like an armored kangaroo that doesn't have like the bendy kangaroo legs. I don't know what a Kangaskhan is either. So, but it's got a little smaller Kangaskhan in its pouch that's like a little baby Kangaskhan. Still no word on how they fuck. You got a Horsey and Seadra, which a Horsey is a blue seahorse with like it's got like a snout, like a whole snout, like a blowhole snout. There's a better word for it, but it's like getting close to 4 a.m. Fuck you. It's just a blue seahorse that spits ink at people. I don't think that's what seahorse do. And you got a Seadra, is just a bigger one that's angry because, again, Pokemon just makes things bigger and angrier. You have Goldeen and, what is that, a Seadra? Yeah, which Goldeen is just a goldfish with a horn, and a Seadra is just a bigger goldfish with a horn. You have Staryu and Starmie. Staryu is a starfish with a big gem in the center of it, and a Starmie is like 2 purple starfish like jammed together with a bigger gem in the middle of it. It's like a starfish with like more legs, basically. Mr. Mime, which is just a mime. It's just a short mime. It's just a mime. It's just a mime. It's got psychic powers. Wears gloves. It's a mime. It's a clown Pokemon mime. That's an animal in that world. It's just a mime. Like, imagine, some people keep dogs as pets. Some people keep cats, fish, lizards. Mimes. Just a mime. And then you have a Scyther, which is a green insecty. It's like kind of like a praying mantis, basically, but more like fightery. Like it's bipedal and has. I've never used the word bipedal so much in one day. It's banging. I'm so hard right now. Nude. Also remember, nude. 3 a.m., 4 a.m. now. Have not slept yet. It's got like big Scyther, like he's got like big hand blades. Next you have Jinx, which was for a long time considered very racist. It's a little woman kind of dressed like an opera singer in a red dress that had big blackface lips. It was basically blackface. Isaac, I'm really actually going to encourage you to look up a Jinx. They've made it purple now because people were complaining about it being, blackface. But yeah, that one's the one I want you to see because it's something. It's something. Then you have Electabuzz and Magmar. They don't evolve in each other. They're back to back. Electabuzz is they're like, God, I don't fucking care. I don't know what they are. Electabuzz is like an electric cat, sort of, that stands on two legs. I'm going to stop saying bipedal. He's got like a tail. And then Magmar is kind of the fire version of that, except it's less cat-like and more sort of monster-like, and he's made of fire. And Pinsir, which is just like a pincer beetle that stands on two legs and suplexes things. Tauros, which is just a bull with a bunch of tails. You got Magikarp and Gyarados. Magikarp is just a carp, a big, stupid, idiot carp that can't do anything. And it evolves into Gyarados, which is a gigantic sea dragon that's terrifying. Lapras, which is just like... Lapras is the Loch Ness Monster with a shell. Nothing to see there. Ditto, which is just a... Ditto is a pink ball of goo that can transform into any other Pokemon that it sees. And that is a lot of times how in the games you breed Pokemon with a Ditto, because a Ditto can turn into anything. So you breed like your Pikachu with a Ditto, and the Ditto turns into like a sexy lady Pikachu with like a cigarette and being like, it's $40 for your fuckhole, Pikachu, honey. And Pikachu's like, all I got's this, like the throbbing Pikachu cock. Okay, so Ditto is like a transforming thing. Eevee, which can evolve into Flareon, Vaporeon, or Jolteon, which is Eevee's like a little fox cat, basically, like a little brown fox cat, and it can turn into a water version of that, an electric version of that, and a fire version of that, and that's pretty much all that is. It's like a blue sort of like mermaid thing, a yellow spiky electric thing, or a red fiery fire thing. Porygon, which is basically like a tiny little pink tank that exists in virtual reality, but also in the real world. So there's that. Omanite and Omastar, which is just a... what is that thing called? Shit. What is that? It's like a hermit... not a hermit crab. What is it? Snail? It's a snail. Snail? It's a snail. Yes. Okay. Omanite's a snail. It's like a blue snail. And Omastar is a blue snail with tentacles and shell spikes, and surprise, surprise, he's got a kraken beak, and surprise, surprise, he's angry. Kabuto and Kabutops. Kabuto is like a trilobite. So like the little shelled thing with the little crab legs, kind of like a hermit crab, sort of, but more trilobite-like. And Kabutops is something out of my nightmares. It's like a large bug with like reaper blades made of rock. Like the bipedal weird, probably based on like some kind of fucking prehistoric monster. Aerodactyl is a dragon, also made of rocks, that flies. Snorlax is a gigantic, fat, blue thing with a gigantic stomach that sleeps a lot. You've probably seen that too, they're pretty famous. Articuno, which is a gigantic, majestic ice bird. Zapdos, which is a gigantic, majestic lightning bird. And Moltres, which is a gigantic, majestic firebird. We're almost done. You've got Dratini, who is a snake, basically. Like a blue snake with like sort of weird ears. Dragonair, which is a larger blue snake. And Dragonite, which is just your bog standard bipedal dragon. Don't know why it evolves from those first two. It just kind of goes from snake, dragon? ? And then finally, you have 150, which is Mewtwo, which is like a purple bipedal cat with a tail that has psychic powers. So, yeah, it's 4 a.m., and I just described the first 150 Pokemon to you, Isaac, and I guess the audience, if this ever even goes to them, if this ever goes anywhere but my desktop. I don't even know if it's recording still. Let me check that. Yeah, we're still recording. 56 minutes. I should have been asleep several hours ago. So, now, I think I've given you, Isaac, a good indication of what you're going to be in for as far as Pokemon goes. So, you've got, you know the basics, and now you know the original 150 Pokemon. Now, the best part of this, and what makes this entire joke of an episode the funniest of all, is that all those Pokemon I described to you, you will see none of them. You will see Pikachu, and you will see Meowth, and you will not see any of the rest of them. I'm almost positive, because I've named like 150 of like 800 Pokemon, and these Pokemon are 20 years old, so they're not the new hotness besides like Pikachu and Meowth. So what I have done, Isaac, is deliberately waste your time because you made me watch a movie about pedophiles. So this is my little revenge to you, and hopefully the audience, who I'm going to guess probably knows a lot more about Pokemon than you do. I'd say a decent chunk of them anyway, so might get some enjoyment out of this, at least hearing me describe them and can get a picture in their head. All I've done is speak nonsense at you for close to an hour and waste your time. So really, I think I win. And I did all this without wearing pants, and I did half of it fully erect. But seriously, I really am looking forward to talking about Pokemon with you on the episode where you actually have to review a Pokemon movie. It might not even be next. Now I'm thinking it might be funnier just to keep this and have it as a reference for you to go back and listen to, because I want to answer all your Pokemon questions, but I wanted to also throw this out there as baseline knowledge for you to have and to hold. Hopefully the audience enjoyed it. And I'm really sorry we couldn't get a regular episode out to you guys this week. Like I said, my birthday, Christ's birthday, Isaac's birthday, in order of importance. Actually, just in order of, timing, 24th, 25th, 28th. So, busy week. A lot of family, a lot of personal time. No time to record an episode. Just time for me to do one at 3 a.m. when it was just me and the dog. And I've been talking about Pokemon for a while. So this isn't a bonus adventure in the colon. This doesn't really have anything to do about movies. I don't know what we're going to call this episode, and I don't know if it's going to be edited in any way. I guess this is just Larry Rambles for a while, for an hour. So I hope you enjoyed, and sorry this isn't a regular episode. They will resume next week. Same time, same Pokey time, same Pokey channel. But, it'll be me talking about Little Monsters, which is a movie in which Howie Mandel tries to groom children to be pedophilic slaves for the guy who gets shot in Pulp Fiction. I'll be talking about that, and I'll bring up Woody Allen, because I hate Woody Allen, and I think he's a horrible human being, what he did. I will be talking about Howie Mandel being OCD. We're going to talk about Fred Savage being an Italian mobster at age 12. And then after that, we have Isaac talking about one of my favorite action movies of all time, Last Dragon. I can only assume he's going to hate it, because I love it, and it's terrible. And I love that it's terrible. It's got the greatest character in fiction, which is Shonuff, the Shogun of Harlem. Looking forward to hearing Isaac talk about that. And hope you get something out of this. And if you didn't listen, I'm not offended. If you did listen, I'm so sorry. Why? Who hurt you? Who did this to you? Why are you like this? Show me on the doll where I touched you. I'll tell you where I'm touching myself. It's not my penis. I'm sweaty as hell, and I've been scratching my back because it's coated in sweat. So I am going to go take a shower. Hopefully my water's turned back on, because my apartment complex turned off the water because they were doing water main work and decided not to tell us. I should have mentioned that at the start. And I am going to shower and then go collapse into an unhealthy, unrestful sleep, because my life is self-inflicted pain for your entertainment. I'm like Spider-Man, except not a piece of shit. Mike, is that a mic drop? I think that's a mic drop. I need Isaac to bounce things off of. This could just go on for hours. The recording will just eventually be silenced as I slump dead over the microphone. So, I hope you enjoyed. And I cannot wait to listen to Isaac try to muddle his way through Pokemon, which he has no understanding of. But that's a while away, so enjoy. Next week, you've got me talking about pedophilic stuff. So, spoiler, have fun with that. Check us out, bowelsofnetflix.libsyn.com. Twitter is @bowelsofnetflix. The email is bowelsofnetflix@gmail.com. Facebook group, just Bowels and Netflix. I see why it has a condenses on this now, just me saying the same words over and over. So, check us out. I hope you enjoy the regular episodes, and if you can, don't ever listen to this again. So, thanks everybody. Love you. Smell you later. I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my big test. To train them is my cause. Okay, no, I'm leaving it real. Now smell you later.